Don't let my boyish good looks fool you. I am 51 years old and I've seen a few things. I've gone broke. At 35, now I have a $3 million real estate portfolio. I've been run over by a car. I've started multiple businesses, some good, some not so good. I retired. I moved down to a Caribbean island, and then that didn't work out so good. So then I moved back to Florida, and I just lost my dad. So it's got me thinking about what's important in life. And from all these experiences, I'm going to tell you what I think. There's a few versions of this video, but usually they're called 5 things to stop doing after 50. It's the AI generated ideas people come up with. But I think it's a good topic, but it's not about deleting 5 things from your life after you hit a certain age. It's about learning from the things you effed up in the past. It's more of a shift in the way you do things. It's not about just getting rid of 2 different things in your life. So if you're new here, this is the Retirement Mentality channel. This is a place where I want to change your mentality about retirement. I try to talk about things, not always the topic. Maybe other people have talked about the topic, but I try to come at it from a different way to get you to think about things and maybe make some improvements in your life. And the first one is about connections. And by connections, it's not just spend more time with your family. It's about the actual connections you have with your friends, with your family members. You can't spend the same amount of time with all 682 people on your friends list from Facebook. I actually find that the people that I'm friends with that aren't on Facebook, I have a deeper connection with because I can't just log on and see what their kids are doing and what new job they got last week and just not talk to them. By picking up the phone and talking to people, that's how you develop the connection. So, as we get older, we find we probably have less friends than we used to. But try to have deeper connections with the friends that you do have. I took some time about 5 years ago and I contacted my child. I've lived in several different places growing up. So I have a group of kids I grew up with from age 8 to age 15 in Texas, and a group of kids I grew up with from age 15 to 21 in Georgia. And then I have college friends, and then I moved to Montana. So I have friends in Montana, and now I live in Florida. And I lived in the Virgin Islands, and I've lived in all these different places. So I have different groups of friends as my life progressed, but there's a certain core of friends in each one of those places that I still keep connections with. And about 5 years ago, I went and I did a man's trip with a couple of my best friends from Texas that I grew up with. And that was really fun to catch up. We hadn't seen each other in 30 or 40 years, and we just picked up right where we left off. And I just went on a fishing trip with a roommate from when I got out of college, and we moved to Yellowstone together, and we lived in a dorm room after college and worked in Yellowstone National Park, and we hadn't seen each other for 25 years. And we just went on a 3-day fishing trip together. So it's about keeping deeper connections with friends. It's not just about spending time with people or saying hello. It's about actually making deeper connections. The next one is to be the best you. Okay, yeah, that sounds cheesy, but the truth is letting yourself be yourself is something that a lot of us aren't very good at. At this point in the game, who really cares? What even impresses you at this point? Keeping up with the Joneses is keeping a lot of people in debt and in jobs for way too long. And I mean, when I see a guy driving a $100,000 pickup truck now, I don't think, wow, man, look at that guy. He's really crushing it. He's got a $100,000 pickup truck. I think of all the other things he could have done with that money if he was truly a smart investor or person. Like, what could you do with $100,000? Not working for 2 years of your life? The less things that we have to acquire is actually more time we can have to experience life, to get out of the rat race, to retire, to travel, to move to a Caribbean island, to move to Europe, to do whatever you want to do. By the age of 50, let's be honest, we're probably not going to change our socioeconomic standing very much one way or the other. So you got to just be comfortable with where you're at. Maybe a $100,000 truck is a drop in the bucket for you. But if it's not, then you shouldn't have one. Just keeping up with the Joneses it's not cool at this age. When you were 20 and you needed that cool car to go cruise up and down the strip. I'm dating myself again here, but hey, I'm telling you how old I am. So, just be realistic about what you can afford. Being okay with yourself is actually very freeing. I wish I would have learned that lesson a long time ago in my 20s. earlier than that. I wish I would have learned it in middle school. In middle school, here's a good story. In middle school, I wanted to be in the band. I wanted to play the drums so bad. I wanted to be a drummer. My parents didn't want some kid banging on the drums all day. And something really smart that the band leader did was he made everybody who wanted to be in the band play every single instrument to see which one you just naturally had an aptitude to play. And guess which one mine was? It was the flute. I went in there hoping to be a drummer, and I had the most natural ability to play the flute. And I told my mom, I was like, there is no way in hell I'm getting on the school bus every day with a flute. I'll get my ass kicked every single day. So instead, I lugged a 50-pound snare drum on and off the bus every day that I could barely even carry. And it was really disappointing because that's when I found out I had no rhythm. So accepting who you are and going with your strengths is a very good lesson. The next thing I think you should do when you get to this ripe old age of 50 years old is thin out the herd on many levels. But the first one is stop filling up your garage or your basement with all this crap that you don't need. Go through the things you haven't used in a while and get rid of them. Go through your tools, find all the duplicates, find all the tools you bought for one job that you're never going to use again. Get them out of your garage. Go through your closet. Get rid of all the clothes that you just don't wear anymore. Even whether they're perfectly fine, you don't like them, get rid of them. Thin out the herd. Go through your shoes. Go through your purses. Whatever it is that you have a tendency to collect or things that build up around your house, and just thin out the herd a little bit. Maybe after you retire, you want to move to a bigger house or a smaller house or a foreign country or Thailand or a cheaper country, or you just want to travel. These are things you're going to have to do at some point anyway. So just start figuring out what's important to you. Maybe have things you use every day, but they're cheap or they're old or they're worn out. Get rid of those things and get better ones. Get nicer things. Stop buying the crap on Temu and get nice things. And I can hear my wife scowling at me from somewhere because this is advice for me too. I still have a tendency to go on the Temu to try new things and buy the cheap things and try to save a buck. But at this point in our life, we need to spend a little bit more money and get the good stuff and get the quality things and get the ones that you enjoy using instead of the ones that just sometimes get the job done. You can do this with people too. Sometimes you have to just thin out the herd with the old friends list. I think I've done a pretty good job of eliminating the people who are just, there's those people who are just always surrounded by drama and they're always a problem and they're always some story they have to tell you about so-and-so did something and they just attract drama like flies to stuff that flies like. But, there's people who just take more than they give. There's people who don't bring quality or joy to your life. And that's the point of this thinning out the herd, is only surround yourself with people and things that bring joy to your life. The next one is to find your passion. Then this title might sound a little bit cheesy, but it's true because, look, we're close to big changes in your life at the age of 50. Either you're getting ready to retire, or your kids are getting ready to leave the nest, or your kids are getting ready to leave the nest and you're getting ready to retire. So if your whole life has consisted of going to travel ball games and then going to work and then going to travel ball games and then going to work, and then all of a sudden the kids go off to college and you retire 2 years later, and then you're sitting around with an awful lot of time to fill on your hands. So you need to start thinking about how you're going to fill that time so that you don't get caught off guard by this, because this is, you hear all the time people say, oh my God, I'm so bored in retirement and I want to go back to work. That's because those people don't have any passions. They don't have any hobbies. They didn't think about this question before they actually retired. So spend a little bit of time thinking, what did you like to do before you had to go to ballet classes 10 times a week? Or, was it fishing or golfing or playing cards with your buddies or going hiking in the mountains or whatever it was? Start to think about what you might want for a passion after you've got all this time to fill in your day. Because once work goes away, once the kids go off to wherever they're going, there's a lot of time to fill in a day, and you don't want to just sit on the couch watching Netflix every day. So start to put some time into that, because this one will catch you off guard and it's a big one. So put some time into that. The last one I want to talk about is sort of a catch-all, and I'm going to call it get your shit together. Let's start with your health. Get your health together. It's, go for a walk, lift a few weights, eat some veggies, stretch. It's not that hard. Don't overcomplicate it. Start little and work your way up. A lot of us haven't gotten on the floor and tried to touch our toes in a long time. So just start with some stretching, start with some walking. And like I say, lift a few weights. We need to get not just cardio, we need to get a little strength training at our age. You know, it's been the winter time, and in the summertime, I have a few different properties, and I'm always mowing yards and weed eating and moving furniture and doing lots of things. And this winter, I've found myself not doing so many things. So I had to start lifting a few weights this winter. I'm getting pretty buff here. So just start on that. I don't want to call my poor 81-year-old mother out, but I'm going to. She's been saying, she says all the time, I was going to go for a walk. I was going to do this. And I started telling her I was going to is the same thing as I didn't. So if you're going to do a lot of different things, like eat a few more veggies, like if you were going to do it, that means you didn't do it. Also, you need to do a will. That's something that we talk about all the time. I was going to do a will, but then we never did it. Do a will, get it done. I did mine like 2 years ago, and I still haven't got it notarized. So some of these things are advice to myself as well. But do a will, you know, get a piece of paper, write down all your bank accounts, write down all your passwords, everything that's important, put it on a sheet of paper somewhere. You know, at 50, we're getting to the age where you talk to a friend. I wrote this script 2 days ago, and I talked to a friend yesterday who actually said this to me, and I had this in my little script here. And at 50, we're getting to an age where you say, you know, so-and-so, they were only 55 years old, and they just dropped over dead yesterday for no reason. So that can happen to any of us. So, you know, it's not our family's job to figure out where all of our money and what our passwords are. It's our job, so that it's easier on them. So get all that stuff done. Do your whatever you want to do, not resuscitate. Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Like, put all that stuff together so that family aren't trying to figure it out when you're gone, whether it's tomorrow or 30 years from now. Just get it done. And also, pay off your debt. Why do you have debt at age 50? We shouldn't have credit card debt. We shouldn't have car payments. If you have some mortgage debt, that's okay. But like, you shouldn't have any debt at this point in your life. You know, you work really hard and you invest your money and you're saving and you're investing for your retirement. And the whole point of that is to get to retirement. And when you retire, the money stops coming in. So you got to get rid of that debt. It's going to make it a lot easier to make you be able to also retire a little bit faster. And when that money stops coming in, it's going to be very important to know your budget, know what your spending is. So get that figured out. You got to know your numbers, because once the income stops coming in, a lot of people have a big fear of spending money, and they tighten their belt even more. You've had your belt tightened because you're saving for retirement. And after retirement is when you're supposed to be able to let that belt out a little bit and spend a little bit of money. But if you don't understand your numbers, then you're scared to spend the money. A lot of people die with more money in their retirement account than they started with. So you got to know your numbers so that you can spend it and actually enjoy your retirement, and not just be the most frugal guy afraid to do anything because you don't know how long your money's going to last. Let me know down in the comments if I left something out, or if you have any other great pieces of advice for people in their 50s. Maybe you know something I don't know and I can learn from you. This is your chance to where the grasshopper teaches the master. So leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, go watch this video next and we'll dive in even deeper on the subject.